Hello, and welcome to our first Pearson Airport Explorers Camp of 2021. Today, we have a very special edition that looks at the history of airports and Toronto Pearson. For those of you who are first timers to our Airport Explorers Club and our camps, we welcome you. And you can become an official Explorers Club member by joining up on our website. We'll put up our website address in just a minute. And as an official member, we'll provide you with more fun activities and insider information. So be sure to sign up after this camp. So this is the first one of our 5 camps, and all of our camp dates are posted on our website. So you can find more information there and to register for the upcoming camps, and we'll keep a spot open for you. But before we move along to our presentation that looks at the history of airports and Toronto Pearson, let's say hi to a few of my friends who will be helping me today. My name is Catherine. I'm the one on the top left corner, and I think, but my friends will probably argue with me, but I think I have the best job at Toronto Pearson. What I do is I'm the manager of community outreach, and that means I get to go out and virtually now meet all our community members and talk about all the great things we do at Toronto Pearson. And hey, Ruba, did I ever tell you that the Explorers Club Camp Day is my most favorite part of the week?
Well, Catherine, it is for sure my most favorite day of the week. I look forward to it every time it comes. Hello, everyone. My name is Ruba. I'm actually the person to the top right corner of your screen. I think Catherine would like to believe that she has the best job at the airport, and I would like to contest that and say that I actually have the best job at this airport. I manage what we call community investment, which means that I get to work with incredible community organizations that work tirelessly to support the community surrounding the airport. Now, one of our quizzes one day will be how many times I actually say community when I introduce myself. So the organizations we support, they all work on helping the community, especially when it comes to their efforts for people to find good and meaningful jobs. So this is only part of what I do, and it's fantastic. But now over to my friend Hies.
Good afternoon, Explorers. I'm Hies. I'm the only one looking squinty since I'm not wearing any sunglasses. I'm a senior officer in noise management, so that means that we really work together with all our wonderful partners at the airport to make sure that the flight operations from Pearson are as quiet as possible for our neighbors around the airport. Kathy, tell us a bit about yourself.
Thanks, Hayes. Hi, Airport Explorers. I'm Kathy. I'm the one in the bottom right corner leaning on that amazing 777 aircraft engine. And I work on amazing programs such as this one, the Pearson Airport Explorers Club. So I hope you guys really enjoy it and have a great time.
Yeah, so you can see everybody, we kind of have a lot of fun working together. So I'm going to put this slide up, and I'm going to leave it up for a little bit longer so you can get a pen or pencil or crayon and write down our email address and website. But don't worry if you don't get it down now, because we'll put it up later. But the reason I'm asking you to write this down is at the end of our camp today, we're going to give you a special activity that we're going to ask you to complete and then send to us. So, Kathy, can you tell our Airport Explorers why it's a good idea for them to send in their work?
Sure, Catherine. So, Airport Explorers, everyone should send us their work, because by sending us your work to traffic control at airportexplorer.club, just like you see here, before February 5th, your name will be put into a draw to win some really, really cool prizes, such as an Airport Explorer awesome hat, a fantastic t-shirt, and a 100-piece jigsaw puzzle. And if you join us for all camps this winter and spring, and you send in the finished activity that's assigned, that I will, and that we assign at the end of each camp, your name will be put into a draw for a chance to win a Chromebook. Yes, I said a Chromebook, Airport Explorers. The draw for the Chromebook will be on Friday, July 9th, and we'll email the lucky winner shortly just after that. We will also be contacting all of our winners of the hats and t-shirts and jigsaw puzzles, so make sure to remember to send us your work. Catherine, can you let our campers in on some of the awesome activities we did in our previous camps? Which one was your favorite?
Well, I'll tell you, before I talked about my favorite activity, my favorite piece of clothing is my Airport Explorers hat that I'm wearing right now. But, you know, I'll share what we did in our previous camp. So I think both Case and I got a little messy playing that flight attendant relay race. And I don't want to tell our explorers too much about what we did because I want to make sure they check out this activity themselves on our website. But I can tell you, we certainly had fun. And what about you, Case? Did you have a favorite activity from our 2020 camps that you want to share?
Oh, Catherine, we're still cleaning up that mess from that relay race, but I did really enjoy a lot of the activities that we did. Mostly the one where we helped Billy and Bailey, two of our YYZ bees, to find their way back to their hives. And I really loved learning about the aviation alphabet that pilots and air traffic controllers use. And of course, don't forget all the fun that we had learning about airport codes. So, Catherine, do you remember the airport code for Toronto Pearson?
I do. It's YY, because I'm Canadian, Z, YYZ. Now, Yates, it's your turn to use the aviation alphabet to spell it out. Do you remember how?
Let's see, it's been a year, so I think that's going to be Yankee, Yankee, Zulu.
Yeah, that's perfect. You're always the super smart one, Case. And Airport Explorers, if you want to see some of the cool work other Airport Explorers have sent in, just visit our website and you can look in the section called Explorers at Work. So when you send your stuff in, maybe you'll find your stuff there as well. And Kathy, I know you do have that cool activity planned for us today, don't you?
Yes, I do. My activities are always cool, Catherine.
They are. Ruba, can you tell our Airport Explorers what else they can find on our Explorer website?
I sure can. Well, there are lots of cool things on our website, airportexplorer.club. We have mazes and games that you can play. There are instructions actually to help you build your own plane or even a kite. I might be doing that over this weekend. And we have some interviews in our airtime section with a pilot, an astronaut, and a few of the people who work at Toronto Pearson. So be sure to check it out. Our previous camps were all recorded, just like we are doing today. So be sure to check them out online. And also, don't forget to tell your friends and family that they can watch our camps as well.
Yeah, because we want them to have fun too. Thank you, Ruba. So before I hand this over to Case, I'm going to just give you a little overview on how this camp will roll out today. First off, Case and I are going to show you a presentation about the history of airports and Toronto Pearson. Be sure to pay attention to some extra inside information that Case and I will give you and some clues that will help you later when we play trivia. And then we're going to watch a video with our roaming reporter, Russ, who's going to give us a little more history about the area. And then we'll play that trivia game with Kathy and Ruba. And then we're going to answer some of the questions that were sent to us by Pearson Airport Explorer members last year. So unfortunately, we don't have enough time to answer any of the great questions you might send us in today's chat box, but we promise to answer them in our camp in February if you send them along with your work. And then we'll end our time together, as Kathy said, who will walk you through a really fun activity that gets our explorers listening and communicating using a tin can telephone. So, Case, are you ready to go?
Roger that, Catherine. Let's go, Airport Explorers. So today's presentation is called History of Airports and Toronto Pearson. So explorers, let's take a look at today's presentation and really find out when the first airplanes took to the sky. So did you know that the first airplane took to the sky in 1903? That seems forever ago, Catherine, 1903. And in the 117 years since then, airplanes have become a very important piece for moving people and cargo all around the world. As airplanes changed to become a lot bigger and a lot more powerful, and as more and more people wanted to fly, of course, the airports have also changed. And let's learn more about the history of airports and, of course, the history of Toronto Pearson Airport.
Oh, I'm excited. 1903, I wasn't even born there. And I bet your planes have changed quite a bit since then. Don't you think, Case?
I'm very sure they did, Catherine. So it all came and started with a very bumpy start. And we mean that a bit literally, because when people first started flying airplanes, they used a dirt road or a grassy field as a runway, and off they went. And not many people were flying as passengers back then, so they didn't really need a terminal building yet. In areas far away from cities and large towns, some planes, even today, still land on dirt runways or grassy fields, so that's a lot more bumpy than the smooth tarmac we have at Pearson.
And I guess the airplanes were smaller, so I mean, they didn't have big jumbo jets when they first started, did they?
Definitely not. No, there were very much smaller airplanes made of a lot of different materials back then as well, but more about that later.
Okay.
So the oldest real airport in the world is College Park Airport in the US state of Maryland. It was started in 1909 by Wilbur Wright. And planes still take off and land from that airport today, so that's really cool. Other small airports were soon built in cities all around the world, like in Beijing, London, Paris, and Sydney, Australia. So on the right there, we see that cool little guy in his bowler hat, and that's Wilbur Wright. That's a very important name to remember. And you'll actually learn more about him in the upcoming camp that's called History of Aviation. And he and his brother Orville are the ones who actually invented the first airplane.
Look at the airplane. It looks different from today's airplanes.
Yeah, so you can actually see there, Catherine, that they weren't made a lot of the newer futuristic materials that they are today, but they were very much built out of wood frames and canvas back then to make sure that they were as light as possible to be able to fly.
And the wings are a different shape too, I see.
Yeah, they look a lot more stocky and not as aerodynamic as the ones that we see today.
Okay.
So the first airport in Canada was in Toronto, and it was in the Long Branch neighborhood of Etobicoke near Lake Ontario, and that one opened up in 1915. And the airport there was created to train pilots for World War I. Toronto didn't have an airport for passengers yet back then, and remember, the very first flight was only 12 years before that in 1903. So on the left, you see some pictures of what that airport looked like in Long Branch in 1916, and even one of the airplanes that was used at the flying school there.
It's just farmers' fields, yes?
Yeah, there really wasn't a whole lot around Toronto back then when we think about more than 100 years ago, because as we'll see, the city has really changed a lot in the last couple of years.
Hey, yes, our friend Tanya lives, I think, around Long Branch. I hope she's listening today.
Yeah, I definitely hope she is. So by the 1930s, people were traveling more and more often by airplanes. Airports were being built really all over the world, and the Canadian government realized that there needed to be one large airport near Toronto rather than several small airfields all around the city. So in 1935, the government bought some farmland outside of the city and built what is now called Toronto Pearson Airport, but it was originally called Malton Airport because Malton, which is now part of Mississauga, was the closest town at the time. And Catherine, I'm pretty sure they had to move over some cows to make sure that it was safe for the planes to take off and land, right?
Oh, I guess so, and sheep and pigs too, but I don't see any houses around the airport.
No, and that's one of the very first pictures that we see of the airfield that it is still today. And you can really see there's not a lot going on there apart from farmland.
Crazy.
So today, Toronto Pearson is surrounded by highways and cities, but back then the airport was just all surrounded by farmlands. And this is how a lot of the big airports actually began, with big empty spaces. Malton Airport started out as just a farmhouse, which you'll see on the left. And that farmhouse was used as offices and a terminal building. And the government bought 14 farms to create the airport. They bought over 1,410 acres, which is an area bigger than 35 Eaton centers, which is quite a bit of space. And you'll see a picture of that farmhouse on the left there. It just looks like a regular old farmhouse.
Do you think they have a Tim's in there or a Subway?
I don't think they were as lucky back then to just go grab a double-double and a chocolate glazed donut yet, Catherine.
But they have sheep you could probably go and pet there.
And probably a bunch of cows too. So in 1938, a larger building was created because you can think that that small farmhouse wasn't big enough anymore. And the terminal building that was created and 2 runways were paved, so they were no longer dirt or grass. And in the 1930s, all the airport codes that we talked about in some of our previous camps, like YYZ for Toronto Pearson, they were created to identify all of those airports. And make sure to check out our activity to test your memory of Canada's airport codes as well.
Boy, that's kind of cool. And I like the little thing at the top that looks like it's almost like an observation deck. Do you think that might be that?
Yeah, I'm really sure it was. So to make sure that people can actually go up there and have a look what's going on in the airfield, which is really cool.
No, it's way bigger than that the farmer's house before.
Definitely is. So as the airport got a little bit more established, of course, the first plane still had to land for it to be an actual airport. And that happened at Malton Airport in August of 1938. And a lot of people came out to really see that first airplane land. And you'll see that at the picture. There's a big crowd surrounding that airplane. And the airport was in business in 1938.
Cool. Look how shiny that plane is.
Yeah, so back then, not all the planes were painted like they are today. So you're really seeing the metal underneath that looks very shiny still. I think it's a very cool retro look.
Yeah, no, it is cool. I like it. And I also noticed that the planes, when you look at modern planes, the wings are different. So it's cool seeing how planes have changed since 1937, 38.
Yeah, they definitely have, and they probably still will in the future. Like it's neat to think what planes might look like maybe even 30 years from now.
Yeah.
So a big piece of history came after that, and one thing that caused Toronto Pearson and the surrounding towns to grow a lot bigger was the Avro Arrow. And the Avro Arrow was a fighter plane designed by the Royal Canadian Air Force. When it was designed, it was the fastest and most modern plane in the world. From 1957 to 1959, the Avro Arrow was built right in Malton, and the project created a lot of jobs. So the towns around the airport became a lot bigger to make sure that they could hold all the people that worked there. So we see a picture of that Avro Arrow on the right there. And a really cool bit of information is that many of the Avro engineers later worked on the Apollo space program, and it's the Apollo 11 space flight that actually landed on the moon in 1969.
Now, I know in Malton and Russ, when we go to talk to Russ, there's some old-fashioned planes that they have in one of the parks in Malton. And I think I know that the city of Mississauga is actually building a replica of the Avro Arrow plane that will be in Malton someday soon.
I can't wait to see that, because it's really cool that to think that back then it was the most modern and fastest plane in the world.
Cool.
So the 1950s and the 1960s were a great time for air travel. They call it the glamorous jet age, because it became a little more common for people to fly all over the world. Flying was really expensive during the jet age, so people got dressed up in their best clothes just to go on airplanes. Security screening and checking luggage really didn't exist yet, so people just walked right onto the plane. And if we compare that to today, where most of us will put on our most comfy clothes to go on a plane, like sweatpants and a nice baggy sweater, back then they were really putting on their best clothes, shining their shoes. Whew, that's a tongue twister. And making sure they have a nice tie or a nice dress on to go onto that airplane. So definitely a lot different.
That guy is wearing like a complete suit. And look, they have like real glassware and fancy dishes and curtains in the window. Wow.
Mm-hmm. So Malton Airport continued to grow, and in 1960, its name was changed to Toronto International Airport. In 1964, a circular terminal called the Iroquois 1 was built, and that terminal had a circular design and was considered really modern and super amazing back in 1964. You see a picture of that on the left? Isn't that odd to see, Catherine?
That's really cool. I like the way all the different bridges are sort of sticking out there, and the planes are parked there. I think our explorers will want to remember that word, Iroquois. That's an interesting name for a building.
Iroquois 1. So that was the first circular terminal that we had at Toronto Pearson.
Cool.
Now, that building is actually really famous all across the galaxy, Catherine, because in 1977, NASA launched Voyager 2, which was a small spaceship with no people on board, to really go and explore outer space. And it contained a special golden record with images, music, and even writing on it about humans in the case that it was found by any aliens. And NASA wanted to include a picture of an airport because airports are so important to humankind. They actually picked a photo of Iroquois 1 at Toronto Pearson to put on that golden record. How cool is that?
Wow.
So we see a picture of that golden record there, and also a drawing of Voyager 2. And it actually left our solar system in 2004 and is now over 18 billion kilometers away from Earth.
Yes, I'm worried about something.
What are you worried about, Catherine?
Well, Iroquois 1's not there anymore, so what if the aliens come looking for it? They won't find it.
Well, they might be in for a pleasant surprise, Catherine, because the terminals we have nowadays are even a lot more modern than Iroquois 1 was back then.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to remember.
So here we see two pictures, and it's really neat to see. So the left one was made in 1964, and the right one in 1982. And there's a lot of changes that we can see when we compare these two pictures. Just look at all the new streets and all the new buildings that were built in the airport in just 18 years' time.
Wow, and more runways too, it looks like.
Yeah, definitely a lot more runways. Catherine, how many runways do we have at Toronto Pearson now?
Now we have 5.
Right, so we have 5 runways now.
Yeah, 3 that run east-west, right, Case?
Yeah, 3 that run east-west, and what about the other 2?
North-south.
Right, you got it. So 3 east-west and 2 north-south. That's a total of 5 runways at Toronto Pearson.
But it's just amazing. It's true. Cities grow around airports.
They
Wow.
really do, because there's a lot of jobs that are created by airports. And of course, jobs attract people, and those people need to live somewhere. So that makes it that cities always seem to creep up to airports.
Cool.
In 1984, the airport was renamed once again, and it finally became what it's called today, which is Toronto Pearson International Airport. And that Pearson is in honor of former Prime Minister Lester B. Pearson. And Lester B. Pearson actually won the Nobel Peace Prize for helping to create the peacekeepers. And the peacekeepers are soldiers, but they actually don't fight. They help create and keep peace during wars. So that's a very important job.
Okay, so
Oh,
sorry.
go ahead, Catherine.
No, I was going to say our explorers should remember that Lester B. Pearson was our prime minister at one point, and he won the Nobel Prize.
The Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah, and we see a picture of him there on the right when he was opening Iroquois 1 in 1964. So a lot of terminals were built over the years to accommodate all the passengers. And you actually see a picture of some cranes there while they're doing some construction. And Terminal 2 opened in 1972. And a bit later, Terminal 3 opened in 1991. But the picture above shows the curved Terminal 1 being built. And that one opened in 2004 to really replace the Iroquois 1, which was the round circular one that we see off to the side there a little bit.
Can you imagine all the jobs? Like, look at all the work that's happening there.
It looks very busy in that picture, Catherine. But wait, something doesn't quite add up, does it, Catherine? Because if you've been to Pearson, you know that there is no Terminal 2. So what's really the story there? The airport did have a Terminal 2 from 1972 until 2007, but it was closed to create more space for more gates. And remember, gates are those spots where the planes park to load and unload passengers, baggage, and cargo. And the airport decided it would be too confusing and too expensive to change the name of Terminal 3. So that's why we now have Terminal 1 and Terminal 3. And if you're looking for Terminal 2, you're at the wrong airport.
I know a lot of people get confused, but Yeah, those are people who don't live in Toronto.
Right. This is one of my favorite pictures, but like many airports, Toronto Pearson Airport has changed a lot over the course of the years. In just 82 years, it's changed from a farm with some dirt roads to the largest airport in Canada with modern terminals and 5 huge runways. So we're really excited to see what comes next, what change will be next, and what new innovative features are we going to see next. So this picture, Catherine, what do we see in it?
I see a lot of highways, and I see a lot of houses, and I see a lot of factories, and I think I see, are those the snowbirds?
That is the snowbird. So the snowbirds actually fly by at least once a year, usually when the CNE Air Show goes on. And sometimes the snowbirds park at Pearson to make sure that they're all ready for the air show.
Wow. Thanks. Yes, that was super interesting and a lot of information to remember. Yeah, we're recording this, Hayes was telling us, and tomorrow, if you want to watch this again, we'll have this on our website, and you can show your friends or your parents how airports have changed over the years. So we caught up with our roaming reporter. We haven't seen Russ for a while, and he was in a park in Paul Coffee Park, I think it was. And he's going to give us a little more of a history lesson. So let's see what Russ has to say.
Hi there, Airport Explorers. We're here in Paul Coffee Park, right in the center of Malton at Goreway Drive and Derry Road. Paul Coffey was a famous Canadian hockey player who was born and raised here in Malton. But we're in Malton because this is the birthplace of our airport. The Malton Airport from 1937 became Toronto Pearson of 2020. This aircraft behind us was built right here on the property at the airport in Malton at the corner of Derry Road and Airport Road in the various hangars that were there, which eventually became the AV Row Company. The AV Row Company built the Avro Aero. Unfortunately, that wasn't competitive enough against the American fighter jets, and so the government shut down that project. But prior to that, in the years 1951 to 1958, this CF-100 Canuck was built there. 692 of the aircraft were manufactured right here in Malton, with a company that was building engines also located here. They built over 2,000 engines for this aircraft, amongst other engines as well. So a lot of aviation employment took place here in the city or town of Malton, and that helped us with our airport growing to what it is today. We're here at Danville Park in the city of Mississauga. This is the viewing area that was created as a joint effort between the Toronto Pearson staff and the city of Mississauga staff. We just saw a beautiful Boeing 787 Dreamliner take off. I love that plane because of those wings. So that was Korean Air on its way back to Korea. Back in the 1950s, the brick terminal building that sat on our property at Toronto Pearson, or in the Malton Airport in those days, on the second floor, people would stand out there and wave goodbye to everybody as they're boarding their Lockheed Constellations and flying across Canada or down to the States. Then in 1964, we built the round Aero Key Terminal, which had 9 stories of parking, and people would stand on the top and observe the airplane out on the apron. And remember, the apron is also called the ramp. It's where all the aircraft are parked as they're getting serviced. But then the new technology came along, and the security requirements and how busy the airport is. And so our existing airport doesn't have a viewing area at the moment. So what we've done is we worked with the city to build this one. So Danville Park is built on the highest landform man-made in the city of Mississauga. Along with the various plaques talking about the history, they even have these cool rocks. Now you'd wonder why they're so cool, but that's because these rocks are actually part of the original facade of the aircraft manufacturing facility that was located at the Four Corners in Malton. With the thousands of people working in the aerospace industry in the areas surrounding Toronto Pearson, we've seen a lot of change over the years, a lot of improvements, and we're going to see a lot more coming forward as well. We're going to end up with electric airplanes. Airbus is already talking about that. We're going to have improved check-in technology and passenger handling processing facilities, maybe touchless. Everything will be touchless. And of course, we're also going to be looking at the environment. Everything we're going to do is going to make sure we have a sustainable world going forward. Okay, Airport Explorers, I hope you enjoyed learning today. This is Russ Cruikshank, the airport's roving reporter. Over and out.
Oh, that was so good to see Russ. I haven't seen him for a while. And I think I'm going to go and my friends at the airport, I think I'm going to go visit Paul Coffey Park one day when things open up. And Danville, it looks like it's got some good tobogganing hills. So, Kathy and Ruba, are we playing a little trivia today?
We sure are.
I'm ready, Catherine. Okay, Airport Explorers. Let's see what you remembered from the presentation Hies and Catherine gave you. Do you remember the clues that were given? And there's some hints that I know Catherine and Hies told you about. So let's see if you can remember the answers. We're going to ask you 10 questions, but please don't worry, don't answer these, just answer these questions in your head. You can challenge your brothers or sisters or friends or parents who are with you to see who can get the most questions correct. This trivia is just for fun, so you don't need to email us or send us in your answers right now. Okay, Airport Explorers, are you ready to go? Ruba, are you ready to go?
I think I'm ready for sure.
Okay, cool. Let's go, Airport Explorers. Let's see our first question. What was the name of the circular terminal built in 1964? I know there were clues given around that. Was it Airquay 1, Terminal 1, Terminal 2, or Terminal 3? Ruba, what do you think the answer is? I hope our Airport Explorers were paying attention.
Well, you know what? I think from what I remember, it wasn't easy as having the word terminal in it. So I'm going to go with answer number 1, and I would say it's Airquay 1.
Let's see, Airport Explorers. You are right, Ruba. You're just as smart as he is. And by the way,
I can't be as smart as he is.
And this terminal, like he mentioned in his presentation, had a circular design and was considered really modern and amazing. Like in that photo, if you look above, that's the parking structure, and below are all the gates where the aircraft are parked.
It actually
okay, let's go to, it does. Let's go to question number 2. What year did the first plane take off? Was it 1803? Was it 1903, Airport Explorers and Ruba? Was it 1907? Was it 1910? What do you think it is?
I don't think it's 1803 because that's such way too long ago. And the other dates are very close. I'm going to go with, let's see, 1907.
Okay.
Oh.
It's actually 1903, Airport Explorers. Okay, one right, one wrong, Ruba. So on December 17th in 1903, Wilbur and Orville Wright made 4 brief flights using the first powered aircraft. Pretty cool stuff. So 1903, not 1907, Airport Explorers.
Listen, I have 8 more to get right. So I'm
okay.
Yep.
I think you can do it, Ruba. Question number 3. What was Toronto Pearson's airport originally named? Was it Billy Bishop City Centre Airport? Was it Kitchener Airport? Was it Malton Airport? Or was it YYZ Airport?
I'm very confident that it was called Malton Airport with an A.
I think you're right, Airport Explorers. I think Ruba got this one correct. Malton Airport, that is correct. And the airport was renamed to Lester B. Pearson International Airport in 1984. So it had a few renaming. Okay, let's see question number 4, Airport Explorers. Question 4, true or false? The government bought 14 farms to create the airport that we see today. Is it true or false? I think I know the answer. Ruba, do you have the answer?
I think it is true.
I think you are correct. It is true. And they bought over 1,410 acres. That's an area bigger than 35 Eaton Center. That's a lot of land.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, I remember before the lockdown, how big Eaton Center is, and this is just thinking that it's 35 Eaton Centers, that's a lot. But I remember from the presentation that this building in the picture, was it the very first passenger terminal? Was that it?
Yes, that's correct. It was the first terminal. And of course, then they built that circular terminal because,
right.
Oh no, the other terminal, the Malton terminal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, let's go to question number 5. Oh, I like this one. What is the airport code for Toronto Pearson? Airport Explorers, if you've been to our previous camps, I think you'll know the answer. And I know Ruba has been to our previous camps. So what do you think it is, Ruba?
Well, the fact that I also work at Toronto Pearson Airport seems like a good, that my chances are good. So I would actually say this in aviation alphabets and say that it is Yankee Zulu, right?
I think you're
Z.
correct, Ruba. Yes, it is Yankee Zulu. Okay, let's see if you can name the other ones using the phonetic alphabet, which is the aviation alphabet. Okay, go ahead. What's Vancouver International Airport? Can you use that using the phonetic alphabet?
I would say Yankee. Yes, help me.
Victor. And then Romeo.
Right? Of course, I know them by heart.
How about the next one?
Montreal
Pierre Elliott Trudeau International Airport.
Yes. For the Yep.
Okay, I'm going to help you out. It's Yankee. Uniform. Lima.
I know the Lima.
Okay. Yeah. How about Halifax Stanfield International Airport?
It would be Yankee.
Yes.
And the H would be
Hotel
and Zulu.
Yes. Really good. Airport Explorers, again, you can go back to our previous camps or go on our website if you want to learn more about the aviation alphabet. Question number 6. What year did the first plane land at Malton Airport? Was it 1938, 1935, 1930, or 1928?
Oh, I remember this from the presentation. It was definitely 1938.
Okay, let's see if Ruba's correct. Airport Explorer, she's right. Amazing. The first landing at Malton Airport was an American Airlines DC-3 on August 29, 1938. Then in 1960, it was renamed Toronto International Airport and renamed once again after Lester B. Pearson in 1984. Wow. Okay, question number 7, Airport Explorers. Let's see what it is. Ooh, who won the Nobel Peace Prize for helping to create peacekeepers? I remember Catherine saying, and he asked about us trying to remember this person. Was it Lester B. Pearson, Mayor John Tory, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, or was it Kim Campbell? Ruba, what do you think it is?
You know what? Because I'm super confident that I'm going to get all these questions right moving forward, I'm going to go with number 1, Lester B. Pearson.
You are correct. It was Lester B. Pearson, our former Prime Minister. Peacekeepers are soldiers, like this gentleman here, but they don't fight. They help create and keep peace during wars. Let's go to question number 8. How many terminals does Pearson Airport have today? I know you know this one, Ruba, but let's see if our airport explorers know. We'll see. Is it 4 terminals? Is it 3 terminals, 2 terminals, or 1 terminal?
Well, Kathy, you know what? Sometimes I feel that this is a trick question because we have terminals 1 and terminal 3 at the airport, but then there is also no terminal 2. And you would think that it's 1, 2, 3, that's 3 terminals. But in fact, we have 2 terminals only. Terminal 1 that you can see there. There's a red circle that's coming up now.
Yeah.
I think on the screen.
Well, let's see the answer first. Let's see what the answer is.
I would say 2 terminals.
Okay, 2 terminals. You are correct. There are 2 terminals at Pearson, Terminal 1 and Terminal 3. And the link train connects both terminals. So let's see Terminal 1. Let's hit that enter. And there's Terminal 1. And let's see Terminal 3. You see that? Those are gates sticking out from the terminals. Great. 2 more questions, Ruba. You're doing really well.
I think I got
Question number 9. How many runways does Toronto Pearson have? Oof, I know this one. I know you know this one. 10 runways, 8 runways, 5 runways, or is it 3 runways, Airport Explorers? What do you think it is, Ruba?
I remember Catherine and Hayes talking about this actually today, and I remember it from a previous presentation. So I would confidently say we have 5 runways.
Let's see if you're right. We have 5 runways. Okay, and how many go? Oh, how many go?
Well, you know.
So there's the answer. I was going to ask you that question. 3 runways run east and west, and 2 runways run north and south. Wow. Okay. Final question, Ruba and Airport Explorers. You guys are doing so great. Okay, let's see question number 10. I don't know if we talked about this, but I think Airport Explorers know the answer to this. And I think you know this one too. So yes or no, does Toronto Pearson Airport close at night? What do you think the answer is, Ruba?
No, we don't, Kathy. We don't.
And I think I agree with you. We actually don't close. So Toronto Pearson is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So we never actually shut down.
Ding, ding, ding. That's 9 out of 10 for me. I hope the Explorers did very well as well.
I think they did great too. I think our Airport Explorers are pretty smart.
They are. You know, thank you, Kathy and Ruba. And you know what I just learned from that? That I learned that I learned that Ruba's favorite letter is Yankee.
Oh, and Lima.
And Lima.
Yeah,
I was kind of concerned when we got to the H, she was going to use my last name, but
I tried whispering, saying, oh,
I should.
You're a good friend, Kathy. You really are a good friend.
So. I'll do better next time. I promise.
No, you did well. You did very well. 9 out of 10. That's a gold star for Ruba. Excellent. So now we're going to our Explorers Asked. I know last week we had some questions that were sent to us. Hey, Case, can you and Ruba answer some of the questions that came in last week?
We sure can, Catherine. I think because Ruba did so well on the trivia, we're going to have her answer those questions.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Let's have a look what we have in store for today. So the first question we got was, what new technology is being used to make airplanes better for the environment?
Wow, that's such an important question. And I could, most planes, like cars, they use fuel, which is not great for the environment. But scientists are looking at different types of fuel and other ways planes can be powered to help save the environment. So for example, in a previous camp that we had that you can find on our website, it's called Future of Aviation. We talked about biofuels, electric and solar airplanes. If you're interested to know more, visit our website and check out that camp. Again, it's called Future of Aviation.
Ruba, I remember Russ also talking about like electric airplanes being part of the future, and some of the manufacturers are already talking about it. Wouldn't it be great to see, and it would make me feel great about flying too if I knew that the impact on the environment was a lot less?
100%. I think this is our chance to actually make the future better, and we all feel very positive about the future of air travel and how we're going to affect the environment moving forward. There's a lot to look forward to.
That's great. So the second question we had, Ruba, who does the pilot speak to when arriving at Toronto Pearson Airport?
That's a great question. Well, we did also talk a little bit about who the pilot needs to speak to before they land at Pearson in our on the runways and inside the towers presentation. There are 2 very important towers at the airport. The first one can be found in the middle of the airport and is called the Air Traffic Control Tower. And this is who the pilot speaks to first when landing their airplane. Now, air traffic controllers help pilots safely land the aircraft on any of our 5 runways at Toronto Pearson. And after a pilot and the aircraft exit the runways and taxiways, they communicate with our second tower that we call the apron tower. Now, the apron controllers in the tower help direct and park the airplane so that passengers, baggage, and cargo can be unloaded.
Wow. I really love that piece, Ruba, how communication really is key and that those pilots really are in constant communication with either the air traffic control tower or the apron tower to make sure that everything on the airfield happens very smoothly. That's really cool to hear.
Yeah, 100%. And with the amount of flights that we usually get, it's very important to have a very organized operation.
Definitely. Great. So the third question, how does luggage get stored and how does it get to the right place?
You know what? Before working at the airport, I've always wondered about that too. But what I've learned is that each piece of luggage has a barcode that is unique to that particular luggage. The scanners scan the barcode and then direct the luggage along 33 kilometers of conveyor belts to the correct sorting area. The baggage all goes through X-ray machines to make sure that you haven't packed anything that you shouldn't have. And then, just a little bit a piece of extra trivia for everyone. We have over 100,000 pieces of luggage that pass through the baggage system each day. And that's pretty cool.
That's really cool. I also really like that picture we had in the trivia, Ruba, of those vintage bag tags. They looked really neat.
Yeah, I got them too.
Yeah, they were great, weren't they? So the fourth question, if I submitted some work to the Explorers Club, where can I find it?
Now, that's a really great question. First, thanks to all the explorers who have sent in their work. If you look here, you can, on the screen, you can see a cool comic strip about the adventures of Ivan, our eagle at Toronto Pearson, that one of the explorers created. We just absolutely loved it. Now, Airport Explorers, the work that you send in gets posted on our website in a section called Explorers at Work. So check it out and see all the great stuff our explorers have been working on and submitting for some cool prizes. And by the way, Airport Explorers, we wanted to say to everyone, you are all doing an awesome job. So keep up the great work.
Yeah, we really enjoy seeing all the work from our Airport Explorers. It really brightens up everyone's day when we see cool pictures and drawings. So this one's really important, Ruba, the last question. What do I need to do to become a club member?
Well, it's very easy. All you need to do is sign up with your email address. We have 3 easy steps. And if you look at the screen, step 1, you go to the Toronto Pearson Airport Explorers Club website. The link is there. Step 2, click on the button that says Join the Club. It's a pretty big button in the middle. And then step 3, you scroll to the bottom of the page where you will find the following information. It will say, want to know where there's more fun airport stuff to explore? And then you enter your email address in the box, sign up, and it's that simple and that easy.
Yay! Thank you, Ruba. I'm hoping we're going to see some more Airport Explorers join this week. That's great. And yeah, thank you, Explorers. Those are some really great questions. Thanks, Yace. Thanks, Ruba. Always interesting. I always learn something new every time I come to this show. Thank you. Remember, Airport Explorers, if you have any questions about today's camp, be sure to send them in with your work and we'll answer them at our next camp, which is on Thursday, February 25th. So now, finally, we're coming to my most favorite part of the camp, activity time. Kathy, what are we doing today?
Yes, Catherine, it is your favorite time of the camp. Activity time, mine too. So Airport Explorers, we're going to put our best foot forward and our thinking caps on. And explorers, today we're going to get creative and use our hands and build a tin can telephone. Explorers, obviously, we don't have time to build this right now, so I'm going to give you a little explanation on what this activity is about and the instructions on how to build your tin can telephone so that you can work on it afterwards with your friends and family. And as Catherine mentioned, you can watch this part of the camp tomorrow if you need to refresh your memory or you forgot something, and you can download this activity on our website in the Discover and Learn section. So explorers, are you ready to go? Let's go over the activity step by step. So first, I just want to give you a little quick background. I know Hies mentioned communications are very important at the airport. So air traffic controllers have to talk to pilots from far away. They're on the ground in the control tower and the pilots are up high in the sky. So to talk to them, they use radios. They give the pilots clear instructions about where to fly the plane and how to fly it and where they have to go. So when we use our tin can telephones today, airport explorers, can you communicate effectively from far away is the question we'll be trying to figure out. And your challenge is to make a tin can telephone and then use it to try to communicate with your friend or your partner. And you can do this with your sibling as well or your parents. So how to make a tin can telephone. So let's figure out what we need first. So to make a tin can telephone, all you need is 2 tin cans that are washed out and have the lids off. If you don't have cans, you can always use plastic cups. They work just as well. And you'll need a long piece of string, anywhere between 3 to 6 meters long. And you'll also need a hammer and nails. Step 1, using a hammer and a nail. And if you need help, ask your older sibling or your parents to tap a small little hole in the center bottom of each can. Then put the string through the holes on each side, and then you tie a knot several times on the end of the string so it doesn't fall out. Let's see what step 2 is. Step 2, take one can and your friend takes the other can, and you walk away from each other so that you are as far apart as you can go while still holding the cans or the cups that you have. And with the string pulled tight between you and your friend, and it has to be tight because I think that's what helps you communicate, try talking into one can while your friend listens with the other. Okay, so can you hear what the other person is saying? Test it out. Color it, decorate it, and then take a photo and send it to us. And when you're done testing it, take a photo and send it to us. We love seeing your work, Airport Explorers. Good luck and have fun.
Thanks, Kathy. Gosh, I remember building tin can phones with my little brothers and then we would send secret messages to each other and we'd have so much fun. So explorers, as I was saying at the beginning of the camp, I'm just going to leave this up for a little bit longer as we finish off for today's camp. Here's our email address. It's trafficcontrol@explorer.club. So that's where you can send us your questions and pictures of your work. And remember, by doing that, you can win a hat or a shirt or a 100-piece puzzle. And if you join us every camp, the next 5 camps, your name will be, and you send in your work, your name will be put in for a draw for a Chromebook. And if you want more fun or you want to visit some of the other camps that we did recordings that we did earlier this year and download some coloring sheets and word finds, we got a whole bunch of fun stuff on our airportexplorer.club website. So that's our camp for today. Thank you for joining us as we explore the history of airports in Toronto Pearson. And in the meantime, have fun building your telephone and going to our website for more fun. So just a reminder, our next camp is on Thursday, February 25th, and it'll be at 3:30. And we're going to look at our presentation, which is called Welcome to Canada. We're going to be talking about all the ways new Canadians come to Canada. So thanks again. And this is Catherine signing off. Over and out.
This is Kathy, Airport Explorers. Let's get busy and have fun. Over and out.
Roger that, Kathy. This is Case, over and out.
See you next month, explorers. This is Ruba, over and out.